The wedding hall shimmered with soft light. Every corner dusted with gold and laughter. The piano hummed low, carrying through the air like a secret only the chandeliers could hear. Guests turned in polished suits and pastel dresses, their smiles blooming under the camera flashes. But when Junho stepped through the entrance, followed by Yuna's quiet grace, the room seemed to pause, just slightly. The world took a breath. He wore black, simple and immaculate. She moved like a reflection in light, her ivory gown whispering against a carpet. They didn't arrive together, not exactly. But when they found their seats, side by side, effortlessly close, it was as if the universe had planned it that way. The ceremony began. The officiant's words floated above soft laughter. Between vows and violin notes, Junho leaned back in his chair. He's wandering. Yuna smiled without looking at him, sensing his presence the way one feels sunlight through curtains. For a while, they said nothing. Silence suited them. It always had. Then came the moment that would echo across the internet. The bride and groom began their first walk down the aisle. The crowd rising in applause. Junho reached for his phone. The movement quiet and unthinking. A beat later, Yuna did the same. Hands lifted two identical devices, same brand, same model, same translucent case that caught the light just so. For anyone else, it was nothing. To fans, it was everything. The video surfaced online within hours. In the grainy glow of wedding lights, their matching phones gleamed like twin constellations. Someone paused the clip, zoomed in, drew red circles around the devices. Another added slow music, overlaying heart emojis and captions like couple telepathy caught live. The hashtags followed, Junho Yuna, couple phone. When love looks this obvious. The internet, restless and romantic, began to build its story. It's not coincidence, one fan wrote. That's connection. In another corner of Seoul, the clip played on silent loop in cafes, on phones, in group chats that had once only talked about dramas and music shows. Now, people spoke in murmurs. They didn't just sit together. They were mirroring each other. They didn't even have to look. What made it powerful wasn't what they did, but what they didn't. No gestures, no words. Just the kind of quiet synchronicity that only two people who've shared time could create. At that moment, neither of them knew the world was watching. Junho was focused on the couple at the altar. Delicate light catching the bride's veil. Yuna laughed softly beside him, filming from the same angle, the same rhythm. When he glanced her way, her reflection flickered on his screen, a ghost of a smile, almost too faint to be real. Music swelled, the applause thundered. But somewhere between the sound and the silence, there was a current only they seemed to feel. Later, reporters would describe it as a spark of coincidence. Fans called it proof. But to anyone sitting close enough, it was simply two people being natural, comfortable, unguarded. And yet, comfort can look a lot like love. Their history made the scene even more magnetic. Months before, they had starred together in King the Land, a drama that blurred the line between acting and emotion. On screen, they had been perfect, the effortless smiles, the soft glances that lingered just long enough to make audiences wonder. Off screen, they laughed between takes, whispering jokes that never made it to the blooper reels. They had chemistry, the kind that never needed to be performed. Since then, they'd appeared at award shows, photo shoots, and festivals. Always professional, always polite. But for fans, every coincidence was another piece of a puzzle. The same outfits, the same earrings, the same brand of watch. Now, the couple phone had joined the list. Back in the wedding hall, the ceremony ended with applause and confetti. Junho clapped softly, his expression calm, but his eyes, those sharp, deliberate eyes, found hers for just a second. Yuna smiled, the corners of her lips trembling into laughter. Dramatic. It was barely even visible. But the cameras and fate caught it. Maybe they didn't even realize, one fan wrote. Maybe that's what makes it real. When the night deepened and guests drifted toward the exit, they remained for a while longer. Candles burned low. The string quartet packed up their instruments. Yuna leaned forward to say something. Junho laughed. The sound quiet but warm. They stood, bowed to the bride and groom, and left through opposite doors. But the echo of that small moment stayed. Hours later, social media boiled with theories. Fans compared phone specifications, casing reflections, Even the angle of their wrists. Every detail became evidence, every pixel, a heartbeat. The comments piled high. They don't even need to announce it. You can see it in their eyes. This isn't acting anymore. It wasn't the first time fans had written love stories for them. But this one felt different. It wasn't born from interviews or behind-the-scenes clips. Born from silence. That night, Yuna's agency released a casual photo from the wedding. Her dress glowing under the chandeliers. Juno's team posted nothing. But silence, too, can be an answer. Outside, rain began to fall, a soft drizzle that blurred the city lights. Somewhere between the traffic and the thunder. Phones might have lit up at the same time. No one could prove it. But everyone could feel it. Maybe it wasn't love. Maybe it was simply timing, the kind that only the universe can choreograph. But as the wedding ended and the world kept talking, one truth remained. They didn't just sit together. They existed in the same rhythm. As if every second of distance between them was already written to fade. And in that rhythm, fans found something rare, the quiet heartbeat of a story that didn't need to be told to be believed. Morning broke over Seoul with a brightness that felt too sharp after the glow of that night. The videos had already spread to every corner of the internet. Someone had slowed the footage. Added music soft as breath, someone else had layered it with dialogue from King the Land. Each edit turned a passing glance into confession. Silence into something almost holy. Juno's name trended first, then Yuna's. Then both together. As if even algorithms had given up on separating them. The wedding had been about someone else, but by dawn, the world had decided it belonged to them. In a quiet apartment, the young femme pressed replay again and again. She wasn't looking for gossip, she was searching for that flicker of warmth. That rare moment where two people forgot about the cameras. There it was, the mirrored movement. The matched phones. The breath shared between them. She smiled. Not because it was proof. But because it reminded her the connection could still exist. Even in a place built on distance. Elsewhere, the bride Kim Go-eun posted a thank you note online. Her words were gracious. Her photos beautiful. Every comment beneath still whispered about the two guests in black and ivory. They stole the spotlight without meaning to. One netizen wrote. But maybe that's what love is, it doesn't ask permission. Junho's schedule took him to a studio the next day. Reporters waited. Pretending to be casual. Microphones gleaming like questions. He smiled politely. The way he always did. And moved past them. The cameras caught the faint reflection of his phone screen as he checked something quickly before stepping inside. The model and the case looked familiar. Yuna was across the city. Filming a commercial. Between takes. She scrolled through messages, friends teasing her. Fans tagging her in clips. She laughed, shaking her head. When the director called her back, she tucked the same translucent cased phone into her purse. None of this proved anything. Every ordinary gesture felt like a continuation of that wedding moment. The internet doesn't need evidence, it needs story. Story had already begun. A journalist wrote that their chemistry felt like two melodies in the same key. Even when played apart. Another called it the return of quiet romance in a loud world. Even skeptics softened, admitting that the scene had a certain beauty they couldn't explain. Weeks passed. The hashtags cooled. New scandals came. New dramas aired. But somewhere, I'll still rewatch the video. It lived in the background like a favorite song, one you don't tire of because it feels like memory itself. Sometimes, during interviews, their names appeared in the same sentence again. The hosts would laugh, asking lightly about King the Land, about on-screen chemistry. Junho would chuckle and say, "It was just good teamwork." Yuna would nod, eyes glinting, and add, "We trust each other a lot." It sounded simple, almost rehearsed. But trust is its own kind of romance. In quiet moments, when no one watched, maybe they remembered that day, the flicker of candles, the sound of soft rain against the glass, warmth of laughter echoing between them. Perhaps they didn't plan any of it. Perhaps it was simply two people moving through the same light. Fans still whisper theories. Some believe the phones were sponsored by the same brand. Others insist it was fate. Beyond speculation lies something gentler, admiration for how two stars managed to make a crowded room feel intimate. One fan uploaded a final edit, a montage of the wedding footage fading into scenes from their drama, ending with a quote that lingered. They didn't just share a moment. They shared a heartbeat. Under the glow of screens around the world, People smiled, sighed, and for a second, believed in love again. No one knows if Junho ever saw that edit, or if Yuna ever replayed the clip herself. The memory lives only in the space between them, spoken and untouched by rumor. But somewhere in that wedding hall, between applause and violin, between black suit and ivory dress, something had been written without words. It was soft, unplanned, and impossibly human. They didn't just sit together. They didn't just hold the same phone. Existed in parallel light, and the world, her tenderness, recognized it. And if someday they meet again, at another event, under another ceiling of gold and laughter, the cameras will click. The internet will ignite. And the same quiet magic will return. Because some stories don't need an ending. They only need a moment. The rest, like the echo of that wedding song, is to them alone.